Alrighty, so we are going to be recapping a lot of the cool stuff that happened during the live stream and going over some of the patch notes. I don't want to go over the entirety of the patch notes because they are really, really big, and I want to read over them in their entirety in English whenever they come out on Global, which should be Sunday night. So they did show off a lot of cool stuff. We have a little bit of a preview right here of the newest story chapter, which should end up actually finishing off the Seven Deadly Sins storyline, because they're supposed to be moving into the Four Knights of the Apocalypse story on the part 2 of this anniversary. So that is going to be a really big part of it. This is like the dream fight that Meliodas has with Kath, which is the big cat thing that Arthur sort of deals with at the very end of the story, of course, which is really cool. But I'm sure a lot of you know that Escanor is the festival unit, and he is quite insane. So let's look at the reveal really quickly of Escanor. So here we have some of his cool animations. This is the AoE skill. I think I actually have the animations pulled up as well. But there is the official art. You can see that he is small Escanor, and then behind him is the big Escanor, which I think looks really, really sick. I think there's a lot of confusion around him being transforming. He is not actually a transforming unit, but I assume that when he's a representative character, he might be the small Escanor, and then he is the first character to have like an actual like intro animation when you go into PvP, where he basically starts as small Escanor. You see him grab Mael's hand and transform before the match starts, like before the CC gets calculated and everything. So there's a lot of really, really cool stuff going on with this unit. As we move through here, you can see this is what it looks like in-game whenever you're looking at him in your box. It's the small Escanor with the big Escanor behind him, which I think looks fantastic. So each of the cosmetics that the character has are actually for both small and big Escanor, which looks really, really cool. He is a green unit, which I thought was weird. I originally had anticipated him being red, but I think I was completely forgetting about red Arthur. Another thing to note is that you'll see that he does have Mael's Grace, and it is a new Grace. It is not the same one as Mael has. So that is going to be another big part of his kit, which is a really interesting thing because he actually does have a 50% damage cap built into his passive, and a lot of people in the stream were concerned because you're not going to be able to use Tarmiel Link with him because he already has a Grace, which I think is fine. I think damage caps with Tarmiel Grace is kind of a gimmick thing in general, but personal preference there, of course, for me. But all of his animations and stuff look sick. He has really good CC. You can see 76k, and they don't even have him True Awakened yet, so technically he would be 77k, 77.6, so that's still really, really high. He has quite a lot going on. Here is a image of the 3 different costumes that he is going to have. You can see he has this sort of like robe looking one, and then the big Escanor doesn't even have the chest piece sort of on. It's like down by his waist, which I think is kind of funny. He has like this king looking cosmetic, and then you have the Holy Knight armor, which is very reminiscent of the red regular Escanor, which I really like. I'll probably end up using this one. I think it looks super, super cool, but you know, obviously personal preference there a little bit. We do have some of his skill animations and everything, and I'm going to go over what the character does as well, because there is a lot to get through here. He's going to be doing a lot. I am going to try to put these up on the screen as well. I guess I can just kind of make it a little bit bigger right here, and you can kind of read along as you see some of the animations over here maybe. Let's just hide that so we have a little bit more room, and hopefully you can see the animations too. But Escanor the Indomitable, his Grace increases the unit's HP and critical defense by 10%, so nothing super crazy, but obviously that could be really helpful on some other characters. This is probably going to be a character that you're going to want to get higher ult levels with, because his ultimate is very pay to win. We'll look at that in a second, but he's got a lot going on, and any Grace character is, of course, nice to have, like 6/6, of course, because if you want to use the Grace on another unit, you know, having them maxed out is, you know, preferable. Another thing to note is that you can run unities on him during the PvP matches that they show off. I think the JP stream actually did use Roxy unity on him, which is very helpful. So his ultimate, or no, his passive, sorry, is at the start of the battle, apply Burning Sun for 1 turn to the unit, and for 1 turn, the unit cannot take damage that deals over 50% of the unit's max HP. So maybe the damage cap is only for 1 turn. By the way, this kit is incredibly confusing to me. There's so much going on in this thing, and these translations, like, they're not 100% like word for word what they're going to be on global. So shout out to Kane, of course, for the translations. I'm not trying to knock that or anything. Like, big ups to him for even translating this stuff for the community in the first place. But it's just, there's so much. There's some new stuff. It's hard to know exactly what some of this stuff means, you know, because I'm already bad with this stuff in general. So take some of what I'm saying with a grain of salt, I guess. When the unit dies, apply Burning Sun to all allies for 3 turns. For every specific ally on the battlefield, increases the unit's all stats by 5%, and for every dead ally or dead specific ally, increases the unit's attack-related stats by 20%. The unit is immune to stat decreases. So just like with Mael, except for Mael puts it on his whole team. Just like with the one ultimate, for example, he cannot be stat lowered. I'm pretty sure this Escanor does the exact same thing in that regard. Burning Sun, which was part of the passive up here, is when using single target skills, additional damage based on 30% of the enemy's increased HP. So I don't know if this is the... I think... So... I'm sorry, I'm all over the place a little bit here. When he uses single target skills... I think they're already moved on to the AoE here. When he uses a single target skill, you'll notice that he'll go in for the attack and it'll hit. Kind of like how the one ultimate had Scorched, where it hits the entire enemy team for a percentage of the damage dealt. This one is almost kind of like Death, where it hits the same target unless the target dies. Then it hits a random target, and then I think at max ult level, I want to say it's 50%. Of the damage dealt, but I could be wrong on that, which this says 30%. There's all kinds of different pieces to this passive, so sorry if I'm getting some of that wrong. I'm sure we'll see like some gameplay of him tomorrow on JP, and we'll get a little bit more clarification on some of that stuff. But there is the single target, and then you'll notice the little lion sin sort of icon underneath him, and then he takes additional damage. I'm not sure if that's the 30% or if it's part of the 50% from the ultimate. I can't remember exactly, but we'll as we get more acquainted with the character, I'm sure we'll figure that out. Skill 1 is this single target. It has punishment on it, which is 2 times crit chance, and then almost like a flood effect. So for 1% of decreased HP and remaining HP of the unit, increases damage by 1.2%. Additional 50% damage of dealt damage to the enemy, random target on death. So that is the death effect, I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure it is 50% damage dealt extra, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The Burning Sun part up here is a little bit confusing to me. Maybe it's just increasing single target damage by 30%, and then this is the 50% extra from his attack. The second skill is an AoE with called Burst Flare, and it has Shining Flare effect on it, which is ignores enemies' defense and resistance, and then times 2 pierce rate. So that's going to hit pretty hard. And then his ultimate, you can see, is very, very big. Ultimate Divine Lance is the title. Apply buff that increases all stats by 50% for 2 turns to the unit and inflicts Hellfire damage by 750% of attack on all enemies. It looks like a single target animation, but it is an AoE, which was very confusing to me. And just as a small note here, in the patch notes, they go over some of the changes to the ultimate. It's incredibly pay to win. At 6.6, he's getting 50% all stats. At 1.6, you get no all stats, and then at 2.6, you get 30% all stats. So the scaling on that is ridiculous, like very stupid. I think it's 2.6 and 3.6 is 30%, and then 4.6 and 5.6 is 40%, and then at 6.6 it's 50%. So I guess at the very least, kind of like Gother, you would want the character to be at least 2.6 to get some extra benefit from the ultimate. So not a huge fan of the way that they did that, but it is what it is, I guess. When the unit is in battle, for 100% of the damage dealt to the enemy with Shining Flare, incinerate the enemy's max HP and apply Unquenchable Flame to the unit that reaches the max limit of Incinerate effect. also, at the unit's death, apply Bursting Sun to all enemies. So this is where it's going to get incredibly confusing because there's a lot going on here. I'm pretty sure this is a passive built into the ultimate, so that's obviously going to be pay to win. Hellfire is the damage from the ultimate itself, and it ignores 80% of defense-related stats. If we look over here at the ultimate, you can actually see that the 80% defense-related goes all the way down to 30% at 1/6, so not a huge fan of the scaling on that. Incinerate, at the start of the battle, Incinerate at max HP of 30%. If the 30% of max HP is over 300,000, the max limit is fixed to 300,000. Incinerate HP cannot be healed. So, I think you can see it a little bit in here. It's going to be hard to see, but you can see that the test dummy that he's fighting is actually losing 30% of his max HP. Like the HP gauge there is completely see-through for that part, and that's just HP that the character is now missing, which is kind of interesting. You'll see it a little bit more in the PvP. We'll go over that in just a second. And then for Unquenchable Flame, which is what gets applied to the enemy that reaches the max limit of Incinerate, is plus 50% damage taken from skills with Shining Flare, which is his AoE. Bursting Sun is what happens whenever the character dies, if I'm not mistaken. So also at the unit's death, apply Bursting Sun to all enemies, which is decreased damage by 40% at the start or at the end of the turn, and then takes extra damage by 50% of remaining HP. So I might have to end up pulling up the PvP from the JP stream, I think it is. I can't remember if the part 2 or the second match that they do in the KR stream has it or not, but basically what happens is they run Sin's team versus Sin's team. One Escanor kills the other one turn 1, and then when it flips over to the enemy's turn, he is immediately losing, or like all of the enemies immediately have 50% HP, which is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. But let's look at this little animation that plays whenever the match first starts here. So as we go into the match, you'll see Escanor grab Mael's hand, and then he transforms into the big Escanor, and then it calculates CC. So he's the first character ever to kind of have this, like, you know, legendary intro. Like if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Legends, they have like legendary finish characters and stuff. So he is like on a whole new level. He has like all this cool new stuff going on, and then you'll be able to see some of the actual damage and everything here. I don't remember if the KR stream actually got his win screen or not, but his win screen looked bugged whenever they were doing it on the JP stream. But here's the AoE. So pretty good damage there, not quite like 50%, but you can see that they're missing max HP now. He does good damage, doesn't kill, but then the extra damage from the single target kills Melee off turn 1, which is pretty impressive. So honestly, really, really cool stuff. I'm trying to see if they do end up getting the win screen here. I think they might have killed Escanor off at some point during the fight. Yeah, they did. So one thing to note is that whenever Escanor dies, he's giving his teammates 5% all stats, and then if an ally dies, Escanor gains 20% attack-related stats, so he's going to start doing a lot more damage. So let me see if they end up doing, which I guess it's Escanor versus Escanor here, so we should actually be able to see the 50% damage thing. Turn 1, he has the triple, or the double AoE, or the double level 3, like, turn 1 hand. But he is going to AoE against the enemy team. So doing some big damage there. They should be missing max HP at this point, I think. And then he goes in for the attack on Escanor. So he does have a 50% damage cap, but the extra damage is enough to kill him turn 1, which is pretty crazy. And then you can see there, they all are at 50% HP now. Because Escanor died, it literally like bursts and does damage to the enemies, which is insane to me. That is so much to worry about. So it's almost like you need to leave Escanor for last, but you also, he gains more attack-related stats as you kill off his allies. There is so much going on with this character. So really quickly, I'm sure you're interested. Let's go over the banner right quick. You can only pick Escanor at the 900 mark, so do be aware of that. He is a 0.25% rate up, and I thought it was only going to be the top 5 most voted characters as far as festivals goes, but they actually did throw Bon and Ultimate Escanor in here as well, so that is really nice. You have 7 other festival characters that you could pull. Lots of nice little unfeatured on here, lots of seasonals and stuff like that. Hopefully you participated in the vote, so you'll know about some of that stuff. There is some power-up tickets, of course, and then we actually have this brand new banner called the Legend Gacha. And I think this is going to be available for all players, especially like new players as soon as they start their game. I think it's available for maybe like 20 days or so. And it's basically going to be a way to get some really nice free units here. So I think I have it pulled up somewhere like right here. Basically, I think you're going to get one of these coins per day. You'll be able to do one multi for 2 weeks. And then at the 300 mark, you get a free copy of either your choice of Traitor Meliodas or Light Elizabeth. This is not the newest one, but the older one, the one that's not quite as good. At the 450 mark, you get an Ultimate Escanor or an Infinity Merlin, which is pretty insane. And then at 600, which is the max, you get a free copy of Lost Vein or Margaret, but they are already LR rarity at level 1, so you don't have to worry about having the LR seals or anything like that to power them up. They're already LR. You just have to spend the thousands of XP pots that it's going to take to actually, max the character out. So lots of really, really cool stuff going on there. The banner itself has some decent units. There's some other LRs in here, so hopefully you can pull like the LR Liz. That would be very, very helpful for a lot of players, I think. But that should be awesome, honestly. I think that's going to be really, really big. Other than that, we have some of the patch note stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to go over it in its entirety. We do have Chapter 30, which is Towards a New Era. This should be the last chapter of the storyline. There's those costumes. We do have the new card set. I'm not 100% sure what this card set does. I'm going to try to look for that in just a second, or maybe even translate it myself. And we do have 2 new Holy Relics, which is for... Traitor Meliodas is finally getting one. I know a lot of people wanted his, and it is a PvE only relic, just so you know. And then we're actually getting one for Derieri as well, which I thought was weird, but let me see if I can find some translations for those. Okay, so really quickly, the card set looks like it is... These are really rough translations, by the way, because they're image translations, so take some of this with a grain of salt. The remaining HP of human allies in PvP at 50% or more, the defense-related abilities increase by N%, so max of 5. If it is less than 50%, the attack-related abilities is increased by X%, which is max of 5. Actually, kind of a cool set. So, depending on if your HP is above or below 50%, you get different buffs. I think that's actually kind of nice. And then for the relics, I think somebody did basically the same thing in the 70s Leaks Discord, so I don't think there's official Kane translations for these or anything. But Traitor Mellies is when an ally uses a single target skill in PvE, increases your attack-related abilities by 5% up to 25%, and then when you use your entire attacking skills, I think this is any attacking skills, debuff effects on allies will be lifted by 1, so it removes 1 debuff. So immediately people were kind of jumping on hey, he might be good for Ratatasker. I think that's very possible. You're going to have to be a little bit careful because some of the phases you do end up needing some debuffs, but he actually could be a pretty interesting unit to throw onto your Ratatasker team, which could be awesome. For Derieri's Relic, I'm not sure I really like this one at all, but works in every game mode, has to be on the field. Between 3 turns to yourself when you use the skill, 5% HP increases effects are granted up to 3 if the effect is maximum overlap during 2 turns. The critical probability is 20%. So I'm pretty sure she gains 3 stacks of HP-related stats, so extra blue buffs for her Amplify cards, and then she gains a 20% crit chance increase and an 80% crit damage increase, if I'm not mistaken. I think this one got really mangled in the translations there. But either way, Coin Shop is back, of course, bunch of bundles and stuff like that, actually tons of bundles for 5th anniversary. Power-up tickets, of course, new weekly bundle. A couple of different packs here for always on sale. Okay, so these are just permanent packs, I think, that are getting added. So that's actually kind of cool, I guess. We have new rank up bundles, by the way. This is like a monthly rank up bundle or something like that. And then we do get 300 gems from a login. I'm pretty sure during the stream they said that they were also going to be giving out an extra 100 gems somewhere. So maybe 400 gems total. I'm not sure. I've seen people saying 400. I've seen people saying 500. I don't know where that 500 is coming from, but maybe during part 2 potentially. We do have another jumping box event, so we're going to be getting a ton of tickets for that. Here is that Legends banner that we just went over a second ago. During the free special missions, you get one free multi and a couple more tickets for the jumping box event. For part 1 of the jumping box event, we're going to get a free copy of the spring seasonal Elizabeth, Jormungand, Magelda, and then another free multi for the Escanor banner, which is actually really nice. The fact that they're giving out Jormungand and Magelda means that bird and deer are more accessible, which is great. During the stream, they did say that during the part 2 of the Lucky Box event, we're actually going to be getting a free Hawk unit, or sorry, Wild unit, which I'm really hyped about. I think Wild is awesome. I've really wanted a unit for him for quite a while, so that should be pretty cool. Other than that, there is this new Cath boss fight. There's a little bit of gameplay right here. They kind of fight him with the human team, which it's not really even a human team because Merlin is on here and also LV is on here. I don't know what the team they're using is, but the fight looks kind of cool. He seems kind of tanky, or maybe he just has damage caps or something like that, but they fight him for a little bit. It doesn't seem like anything super crazy, but I do enjoy a new boss from time to time, so that is really good. There also is some comeback boxes in here. These are the rewards for those. Another one of these boosting events, so you can buy boosts. Bingo event, which is cool. There is the Cath boss fight. Here are the rewards that you're going to be getting from the clear events. It is part of the event boss parade, so there's going to be other stuff that, of course, you're going to be able to get as well. But here are the things from his coin shop, or his exchange shop specifically. Heroes Arena Season 7 is going to be starting, so that is fine. I don't think they've changed anything. All of this stuff looks very normal. Fort Solgris boosting event, of course. There is a Diamond Payback event, and because they've done it with every other UR character, you only get the SSR costume for Escanor if you spend 900 gems, which I'm still not a fan of. We do have some more Tavern cosmetics. I'll probably just read over those whenever they come out on the global patch notes. The King Exchange event is, of course, coming back, but they are adding to it, and we are going to be able to exchange memory fragments now for other memory fragments. So if you have like a ton of fairy ones, because there's only so many fairies that are actually worth True Awakening at the moment, you can exchange those for demons, humans, whatever you want. And then also, if you have a ton of these memory crystals, you can actually exchange 20 of them for one LR seal, max of 30. So if you just need extra LR seals, you've done a ton of Demon King, you can definitely do that. Couple of extra boosters going on now that the festival is in full swing, of course. We are getting the Lucky Bag event, of course, which is, typical for festivals and stuff like that. Advertisement limit, so you can watch ads for more rewards again. The event Hawk Pass is actually getting a little bit of an overhaul. It now goes up to max level of 30 instead of 25. So here are all of the improved rewards for that, which is kind of cool, I guess, if you want to buy these. I still don't really know if it's worth buying or not. I haven't bought one in quite a while, and I mean, they did up the rewards, but to be honest, I need SA coins and maybe gems more than anything, and there's still only a 20 gem limit on this thing, and I mean, you do get 15 Super Awakening coins, but that still seems kind of mediocre. I'm not sure if I really want to buy it or not. There is a new Arthur cosmetic inside of this Hawk Pass, which is actually kind of cool. I want to say they show off, here is an in-game screenshot of the Meli Relic. Here is one of the Derieri Relic, and then this is the actual Arthur cosmetic itself. I think it actually looks really good. Some of the people in stream were saying that they really, really like the way that it looked, so that will be available in the Hawk Pass, of course. If you need cosmetics for him, those are going to be there. They're also adding extra shop sections here, so you can get SSR pendants, UR pendants, hammers, anvils, stuff like that. So they're giving a little bit more incentive to use Hawk Pass points, which is fine. One new battle event. There are a couple of interesting things getting changed in this update. So, improved main screen tavern configuration and added adventure log. So, they went over the adventure log a little bit, but I'm going to need to see it in game. It's basically just going to be an area that you can go to, like a little icon that you can click on, and it's basically going to tell you, like, hey, here's what you need to do for the week. Like, you haven't done your Demonic Beast for the week, or you haven't done your Heroes Arena yet, or like this or that. It's basically just like a checklist reminder of like what you need to do, so that way you don't forget. They are reorganizing the daily missions and weekly missions. I've seen a little bit of controversy around this already. I'm not 100% sure. yet, but some people are saying that you're going to get less rewards with this new system. I don't know if that's true or not. We will see. But these are the daily missions that you're going to do. I think they're a little bit more generic, so they're easier to get done. And then these weekly missions are just going to be extra rewards that you're going to get, which is nice, of course. They are changing the login rewards for new and returning players. So it used to be you would get all the way down here to the bottom and you'd get a free copy of Red Gother. They're upping a lot of the rewards that you get, and instead of Red Gother, you're now going to get a free copy of Traitor Meliodas, which is actually really, really nice. And then for returning players, if you don't play the game for like 2 weeks, it'll actually activate this little comeback banner thing, or like comeback login event, where you are, instead of getting another copy of Red Gother, it's going to up the rewards that you should be getting, a couple of extra diamonds and stuff like that, and you get a ticket that will give you a random coin shop character. So that's actually really nice, a festival coin shop character. So it's a 6.6% chance on all of these units, so it's not a selector ticket, but it'll give you a random festival unit, which I think is kind of helpful. I mean, obviously you could get a really bad pull, and some of these units are way more useful than others, but, you know, just take the free stuff, I guess. Improved shop screens, so they've reworked the shop screen. They have added some new stuff to the coin shop. I was hoping that it would be better, but they basically reworked it to where there's a UR section now, and you'll be able to, if you have extra UR coins, you can exchange those for LR seals or Demon King boxes for those materials. And then they've also made it to where you can buy the cubes. They don't have it in this screenshot right here, but I think in the gold coin shop, if I'm not mistaken, you'll be able to buy the little cubes for Demonic Beast, Holy Relics, and stuff like that. This right here is relaxed the entrance conditions of function improvements for Demon King. So they've basically lowered the chapter and episode that you need to be on to unlock it. If you skip ultimate levels on this one, you can now skip the hawk or the wild animation, which is nice. And then from this screenshot, it looks like they have changed phase 1. It used to be like use specific cards. Now it looks like it's going to be using different attribute characters. So it's red, red, blue here, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how that kind of goes. And then they changed one of the Knighthood Orders missions. They nerfed Belmoth a little bit, and I think it says buff here for Original Demon, but I'm not actually sure what these are. I'll look at those in the global patch notes. Memory Crystals actually go up to 999 now, which is nice. Save some inventory space there. They go over the fact that the Hawk Pass got improved. A couple of bug fixes, which isn't anything crazy. First time purchase bonus is now 5 SSR tickets instead of 1. Scotty got added to the permanent gacha. The SSR costume for Gother is now available for gyms. And then they're actually saying right here, just as a small reminder, which I think they'll probably put this in the global patch notes as well, Demon King is going to be reset after the update goes live. So if you do it on Monday, if you're on global, before the update goes live, you'll be able to do it again on Tuesday, which is kind of nice. And then change of quest materials in some villages. I think it's because of the Source of Awakening is now in the game. So that is basically it. Obviously, this was still a ton of information to go over. Sorry for the entire long-winded thing. Hopefully I've got timestamps and everything down there for you so you could skip through if you really wanted to. But that is pretty much it. So let me know what your thoughts and opinions of the festival are. Escanor looks insane. Lots of free materials and stuff like that, so I am definitely looking forward to it. And I have pretty much talked straight for like 4 hours now, so I am going to shut up for the rest of the day. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys later.